Whoa, wait. Mr. Green's doing a video? He's doing a video over our bell ringers? Yep, sure am. Problem 1 says Nick buys 3.5 pounds of apples. Each pound costs $2.98. How much money does Nick spend on apples? This, my friends, is a multiplication problem. So we have to multiply. If you've forgotten, first step, how many digits are after my decimals? There are 3. So now I'm just going to multiply. 5 times 8 is 40, carry my 4. 5 times 9 is 45. 45 and 4 is 49, carry my 4. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 more is 14. Smiley face placeholder, and most of you are still forgetting that, and that's why you're missing them. Now we're going to multiply by the 3. 3 times 8 is 24, carry my 2. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 2 more is 29, carry a 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. Add straight down. 8, 9, 10. And remember, you had 3 decimal places, so start over here. Just make sure that you have 3 digits after your decimal. Looks like Nick spends $10.43 on apples. Problem 2. Line up your decimals. Remember, on the 142, the decimal is after the 2. Fill in your empty places, then add. I will not be finishing that one off for you. Number 3. We're going to divide 5,200 by 5. Just begin. How many groups of 5 are there in 5? Well, there is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract. You got 0. Bring down your 2. At this point, you have to divide the 2 by 5. I cannot take a group of 5 out of the 2, so I put a 0 above. Bring down my next number. I have to divide 20 into 5 equal groups. There will be 4 in each group, and that is 20. So now, am I done? That's the question. Check your arrows. Have all my digits at the top got arrows below them? No. To bring down. One last time. Can I divide 0 into 5 groups? No, I cannot. Means I have to put a 0 above that last digit that I brought down, and now I'm done. 1,040 is your answer. Problem number 4. I recommend using factor trees for this. We're finding the greatest common factor of 45 and 65. We have to factor our numbers down to their prime factorizations, circling them all when we get their prime factorizations. Circle common pairs, and we find that the greatest common factor between 45 and 65 is 5. Problem number 5. We have to multiply. We're going to multiply 7/8 times 2 2/3. Before we can multiply, we're going to have to use the wheel method and change 2 2/3 into an improper fraction. So we're going to multiply and then add. We're going to multiply the denominator 3 times the whole number 2 and get 6, and then add the 2 at the top, the numerator, and get 8. So we're going to have 7/8 times 8/3. Now we can multiply. And yes, for those of you who immediately see this, we can cross out the 2 8s. They are both replaced with 1s. Multiply straight across, we have 7/3. Now, we cannot leave this problem improper. We have to change it to a mixed number, and we do that by dividing the 3 into the 7. It goes 2 times, that's 6, with 1 left over. So my answer is 2 1/3. I'm going to draw some arrows here to show you where everything comes from. The whole number 2 is the answer to the division problem. The remainder of 1 is the numerator, and the 3 we divided by is the denominator. And those, my folks, are your bell ringers for the day. Okay, this video is going to be pretty much your bell ringers for the rest of the week. I'm going to do day 2, 3, and 4 all in one video for the most part, because we have so many kids that have been out sick. This is a give me from Mr. Green for this week. I know you've been working hard in class dividing decimals, and that's a pain, and you don't like that, so here we go. Number 1 on day 2. We are to write the fraction as a decimal. Well, the first fraction we see says 2 1/1000, so the 2 is definitely a whole number. What we have to do, 2 1/100th. We have to decide what the hundreds place is. Well, if we count decimal places after the decimal, the first one is tenths, the second one is hundredths. Fill in your empty spot. Second problem, 83 9/1000ths. The 83 is a whole number, and we go 9/1000ths. Well, the first place is tenths, the second place is hundredths, the third place is thousandths. And yes, if you were in class on Wednesday, you've already got this problem, so just sit there or forward through the video. Andrea buys a pair of jeans for $35.99 and a t-shirt for $14.65. If Andrea pays with a $100 bill, how much change will she receive? Well, the first thing we need to do is add together the amounts that she spent. So we add the two items that she spent money on together, and we get $50.64. So I'm going to erase that now. $50.64. $50.64. If we take the amount that she spent and subtract it from the amount that she has, we will get the money that she should receive back in change. There's going to be a lot of borrowing in this problem. I'm going to go through this quickly, but if you do not follow and understand, please pause the video at each step. Mark out the 1, make it a 0. Mark out the 0, make it a 10, but that doesn't fix this problem. Mark the 10 out, make it a 9. Add that 1 to the 0, make it a 10, but that still doesn't fix this problem. Mark the 10 out, make it a 9, add it to the 0, but that still doesn't fix this problem. I think you see the point there with what I'm doing. And only make that a 10. Do not mark it out and make it a 9. Lots of you are making that mistake. Now, I can subtract the 10 minus the 4 and then work my way left. To find out that Andrea should get $49.36 back. Hit pause because I'm going on. Next problem. Evaluate this expression. Remember, the word evaluate means to solve. We know that we follow the order of operations in problems like this: parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction last. So look through the problem. I see parentheses and exponents right here. So I'm going to work that problem. That means 5 times 5, which is 25, and rewrite the rest of the problem. So I'm going to look secondly for multiplication division from left to right. So I'm going to work this first. 81 divided by 9 is 9. That leaves me with 9 times 25, which is 225. Find the least common multiple of 4 and 10. These numbers are lower than 12, so I recommend just writing them down, listing your multiples as I am doing now until we find one that they have in common. Sorry about the pen smacking the screen and making the noise. Oh, there's my least common multiple, 20. Problem 5. This is another subtraction problem to where we have to borrow. We cannot subtract 1/2 from 0. That does not give us 1/2. If you don't have anything, you can't take anything away from it. Borrow from the 3. Why did that do that? Borrow from the 3. Make that a 2. I'm going to write the 1 that I borrowed as a fraction. That is 2 over 2, because 2 over 2 is equal to 1. That allows me now to subtract my 1/2 from 2 over 2 because they have the same denominator. So 2 halves minus 1/2 gives me 1/2. 2 minus 1 is 1. And that's day 2. Day 3. We have to find the surface area of this square-based pyramid. We have 5 shapes that we must find the area of, then we add all of those 5 shapes' area together to get the total surface area. So first we see the square in the middle, and most of you know that's base times height. So the area of that square in the middle is going to be 64, because that's 8 times 8 that gives us 64. Well, this 8 is also the base of the triangle. So the 8 is the base of the triangles on every side. The height is 6, and if you remember, to find area of a triangle, we multiply base times height, then divide by 2. So on these triangles, I'm going to be multiplying 8 times 6 and dividing by 2, or I'll get 48 divided by 2, which is 24. So the area of each of the triangles is 24. So I must add 24 plus 24 plus 24 plus 24, and then add 64 to it. But I know that's going to be 84. Nope, Mr. Green's wrong. 24 times 4, 96. And then add the 64 to it, and I get 160. This is an area problem, so we must write our units squared. 166 millimeters squared. Number 2 is a simple addition of decimals problem. Line up your decimals and then add. Fill in empty places with zeros and add. $234 and 25/100. Number 3, solve or simplify this expression, which will mean solve as well if you can, when A is equal to 6/10 and B is equal to 5/10. So we have 4 times 6/10 minus 2 times 5/10 plus 6 3/10. Multiply all this out. 2 times, we'll start right here and go left to right. The 4 times the 6 gives me 24, or 2 4/10 because of the 1 decimal place. Minus 2 times 5 is 10, but I had 1 decimal place in that problem. Plus 6.3. So I'm going to subtract my 1 from my 2 4/10. That's going to give me 1 4/10 plus 6.3. And when I add those together, I get 7 7/10. Next problem. What is the greatest common factor of 12, 20, and 32? I'm going to factor these down to their prime factorizations and then find my greatest common factor that way. So my prime factorization for 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. My factors for 20 are as you see. So my prime factorization for 20 is 2 times 2 times 5. My prime factorization for 32, if I'm not mistaken, is 5 2's. Yes, I see that again. Notice I'm keeping them lined up at the bottom so that I circle my common trios, what they all have in common. Then I take one of each of those and multiply them to get my common factor, greatest common factor of 4. Number 5, again, we have one of these problems where we're writing fractions as decimals. The large number, the whole number, will be a whole number as our decimal. Now, we see 45 hundredths, the fraction. We know that the first decimal place after the decimal is tenths, the second one is hundredths. That's where the 5 goes. Fill in the 4. Our other problem, our other mixed number is 9 and 7/10. The first decimal place after the decimal is the tenths, so we place the 7 there. On to Friday. Sorry, day 4, not Friday. Long division problem. 3270 divided by 30. Follow your 5 steps to division, and your life will be much simpler. 30 will not go into 3, but 30 will go into 32 one time, and that's where I'll begin. So now I subtract after I have divided and multiplied. Bring down my 7. After bringing down, I must divide again, but I cannot divide 30 into the 27, or if you say that backwards, I cannot divide 27 into 30 groups. Add a 0 at the top. Bring down my next digit. So now I'm dividing 270 into 30 groups. There will be 9 in each group because 9 times 3 is 27, and that 9 times that 0 is 0. 109 is my answer. Number 2, line up your decimals on a decimal subtraction problem. Fill in empty zeros and subtract. Going to have to borrow. Cannot subtract 7 from the 6. I'm going to have to perform some borrowing or regrouping. Whatever you call it, it's the same thing. And I find out that my answer is 24 and 95 hundredths. Number 3, what's the least common multiple of 2, 4, and 5? These are less than 12, so I suggest just writing them down and listing them. And doing this with 3 numbers, I don't know that we've done that yet, is done the same exact way. You just have to find the smallest number that all 3 rows have in it. Sorry for the Apple Pencil clicking every time that it hits the screen. I'm just going to list this out to 30. Sorry about having to write so much as well. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 5, 10. That's a horrible 5. 15, 20, 25, 30. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 20 is going to be our least common multiple. Number 4, write each decimal as a fraction this time. So the whole number stays the whole number. It's just going to become a mixed number this time. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So 9,000. This is 31, and the 1 is in the hundredths place, so that's 31 hundredths. And y'all heard the bell ring. It is 7:45, and you're now rushing up the hallway from the gym. Don't run. Haha. Number 5, write an expression to match this phrase. Twice a number added to 16. So look at this in 2 different phrase points. Twice a number, and then the last part is going to be added to 16. We don't know what the number is, so this will be a variable. And just to get Cindy's attention, we're going to use C. So twice C, 2 times C, and then we're going to add that to 16. And that is our video for the day for the bell ringers. No one should have any excuses not having all the answers to the bell ringers for this week.